have a home. And when I say sacrifice, just because those people experience genocide doesn't mean that spiritually they didn't sacrifice so that this America could become the great melting pot that it is, and that other people from other nations all over the planet could come here and call it home and try to pursue this alleged thing called the American dream. But anyway, I'm digressing. So this attitude of the woman king, it kind of transmutes back to this ideology of Mary, and even before Mary, it transmutes to Isis. And even I don't know like time frame, so I'm not going to say before Isis or after Isis. I'm just going to say that in Yoruba culture, depending on which tribe tells the story, Oshun was the great mother who turned herself into herself and gave birth. She gave birth to Elegua. So Isis did the same thing with enacting Horus from the dead. Osiris from the dead and giving birth to Horus. Mary, of course, gave birth to Yeshua, and all of these immaculate conceptions. And the point of bringing this up is this whole ideology of not needing a man's seed to produce, not needing a man's seed to or a counterpart for you to do. And this is not the same thing as saying we don't need men, because men are our complementary selves. Do you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times in our culture, we look at everything polar as the polarity of things, like, you know, male freeman as not as it's complementary, but it's polar to the sense of these are polar opposites, where polar does not necessarily mean opposite. It just means different directions. Different directions can be complementary. We have east that complements the west complements the east, north complements the south complements the north, and all of those directions work together to create a sense of knowingness of where you are. So up complements down, down complements up, in complements out, out complements in, and all of those things work together. So my whole point in saying all of that is when I started working with Mother Isis and I started learning about divine justice, is looking at justice from a different polarity than always saying outside of ourselves is how we enact justice. She did not go to anybody outside of herself other than Anubis and the other gods who were looking at, you know, what happened to her and was seeing the sense of, this is outrageous, we're going to help you gather Osiris together. And after they helped her gather Osiris together, she used her own magic. She used what was in her own being to bring forth what she needed to bring forth. And Anubis, of course, helped her. And Anubis was not even her child. He was basically her stepson, but he was loyal to his father. He was loyal to his father, and he understood bloodline, and he said, you know, I'm going to make this thing happen. So that's how they got it. But I said all of that stuff to say that manifestation, if you look at the story of Isis, you know, one of the stories is ambition, the sense of ambition of she understood her own power. And in understanding her own power, Ra, who was her father, was the supreme God. And she knew that she wanted to share. She wanted to govern the universe with Ra, and she knew in order to do this, I have to make this choice. I have to make this choice, and I have to exercise these gifts that have been given to me. So she used the resources of Ra, some of Ra's spittle, and she created a living serpent, and she commanded that serpent to infect Ra, and then the story is that she told Ra, I can cure you if you tell me what your name is. And ultimately he made the deal is, if I tell you, the only person that you can tell is your son. The thing that people miss out about this story is, of course, there's always the element of, look at a woman, she's always got a trick, it wasn't even about a trick. It was about this, I know that I'm worthy of this position, and I know nobody's going to give it to me. I especially know a male head is not going to give it to me. So I have to create this for myself. So that's the thing that I love about Isis, is that she created and put herself in a position for her power to be enacted. She put herself in a position to do that. She was not out here waiting, saying, somebody give me this, somebody give me that. She put herself in a position to do that, and then she got the things that she needed. But the thing that I feel like people miss is the sense of loyalty. She had that power, and she could have used it to bargain or to do anything that she wanted, but she honored that agreement. And that's what's important. When you go into an agreement with the source of your supply, don't violate it. Because I know a lot of people, when you go to manifestation comes at a cost. You're not going to receive, the universe hates a vacuum. So you're not just going to go to the universe and say, gimme, 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 gimme. First of all, it ain't even a gimme situation, because we are all here in service of everything in the universe, is in service of everything else. So in service to me, in this gift of this living, this is what I feel that I would need to enact my power. I would need this, I would need this, I would need this, and this is what I want to manifest in my life to serve the highest good of everybody involved. Because she didn't just want his name for herself, she wanted her name because this is the one thing that Isis understood about woman. As woman, Isis understood this thing about herself. I have power, and I am consciousness, and I am healer. I am divine healer. I can see, and I can prescribe what is wrong. And that is what has been missing in the male patriarchy. And that's why the male patriarchy killed off divinity being a coexistence where female and male divinity, they killed off female divinity, because if you kill off female divinity, then you don't have the consciousness of saying, hey, this construct of religion, this construct of faith does not fit in with the reality of what we are, who we are, what we're trying to do for our people, what we're trying to do for this planet, what we're trying to do for the cosmos. This thing doesn't jive. And humans took it upon themselves to kill off mother. And killing off mother was the worst thing that you could do. And, they try to make up for it by holding, they have Mary as Jesus's mother, and in the Catholic Church tries to, make Mary a sort of deity without necessarily making her God. And it's just like, you have a father and you have a son, and then you have like a quasi mother that we can pray to, and we can ask her to intercede to her son on our behalf. But then you're saying that we have no position and power in terms of the Godhead. That doesn't even make sense, because no God is ever born unless it comes through a source of woman, period. It just does not. I mean, even if it begets itself, it's begetting itself from the female element of itself. So every God in history has had this female element to some degree in every faith, every kind of faith system or whatever. And this is what Isis wants us to return to. This is what Isis wants us to turn to the divine feminine. I heard somebody say the other day, I haven't done the research on it myself, is that Christ was Isis reborn. She had to come to the universe as a male son or a male god that could be venerated and worshipped, because people had gotten so much into male worship that she had to reinvent herself as this non-binary, source through Yeshua the Christ. And I know this video is going to cut off in a little bit, so I'm going to end here, and then I'll start back up, and I'll go over the cards that I pulled. I don't know how many videos this part is going to be, but just to help you go into the full moon manifestation, understanding that every time we have a full moon, we are in the presence of the divinity of Mother. We're in the presence of the divinity of Divine Mother, and she's listening to us. She's not just listening to the things we say, she's listening to the things we do. So you need to take that into serious consideration when you're doing your manifestation works. Okay, I'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace and blessings.